Well, welcome everybody to our program on May the 17th, 2022, Pacific time. I'm Richard Dasher. I direct the U.S. Asia Technology Management Center, and we're very happy to produce these mixed programs, which are available to Stanford students as a class and also open to the public. Today, I'm delighted that we can welcome Ms. Clara YoonJin Chang. Clara is the co-founder and chief strategy officer of a Korean startup company named STAYGE Labs, which is a community platform for K-pop fans. And they've just recently partnered with one of Korea's leading global entertainment companies, CJ ENM. And STAYGE hit over 1 million users within 2 weeks of starting up this partnership. Now, before Clara co-founded STAYGE, she was a partner at Kstartup, which was a leading business accelerator in Seoul that was receiving support from Google. She is also the co-founder of a Silicon Valley company, LifeSite, which was a secure online digital vault. She served as an angel investor and advisor to over 40 Korean startup companies, and she's been a venture partner with a venture capital firm, Cherubic Ventures. Before she joined the startup scene, Clara was in the media industry. She had her own TV show. She was appearing in other programs, and one reason is because she was titled as Miss Korea. She was voted the most promising female entrepreneur in Korea in 2013. So you can stop sharing, Kimberly. And let me say welcome very much to, I'm going to say Clara today, although I tend to know Clara as Yoonjin, but welcome in. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Hi, everybody, and hi, Professor Dasher. He usually calls me Yoonjin, but there's a reason people start calling me Clara, but Clara is actually my baptized name, so I've been using it. Thanks for having me, and it's such an honor to join and actually give stories of my life and my journey of entrepreneurship. It's my second time or third time, and then I'm glad that I have more stories this time, and sometimes actually it's better to have some failures and then actually give some advice from that. So I can give maybe some advice to you guys about business, but I'm just like you guys. I'm still learning every day. So, but let's start. Yeah. So thanks to Professor Dasher. I think he talked about my background really well, but just to give you a background story of mine, which is kind of important because that my experience, my background actually led to start this current business, STAYGE Labs. Actually, I think when I was in college, I became Miss Korea 2010 Sun. And thanks to that, I was able to be on TV a lot of times and was a host for many different types of shows, including actually entertainment shows. So I know exactly what it's like to work in media, or actually even as an artist. So there were times that I was actually sitting in front of the audition rooms and getting tested. I get rejected all the time. And TV was great, but the reason actually I got into this Miss Korea or media industry is because I've always wanted to be a global person. And I thought Miss Korea platform or the media is the ultimate platform for global, making myself a global person. But actually I saw some limitation. So before everyone kind of knew about startup ecosystem, I jumped in tech because technology has a characteristic, connecting people. So I jumped in about over a decade ago, and that's how I met Professor Dasher. I became a partner at Kstartup, as you see the picture on the right with a bunch of geeks. That was the time. And so I was managing 40 startups myself. I learned a lot from helping other entrepreneurs' businesses. And I think 1/3 of them became really successful. Some of them became super successful, like first Bitcoin exchange company like Corbit, they got acquired, and Reed. There are numerous Korean companies representing Korean startup ecosystem, and I'm very proud of them. And I learned a lot, but at the same time, I was always questioning myself whether I can also be an entrepreneur just like them, because I really wanted to solve problems, but I wasn't sure what to solve. And one day, actually, my previous co-founder called me from Silicon Valley, and he had a meeting with the insurance company, and then they were struggling with the saving all their life information. And my background, I knew exactly how important it was to manage all your life information before something happened. So I told my co-founder that, we should start a company. So I moved to Silicon Valley by myself with nothing. I started my own business from my living room, grew companies to different locations, to New York, to Vietnam, and then working with a lot of Fortune 100 companies. So I learned a lot. And then COVID happened. And that's the time, actually, I decided to jump on STAYGE Labs full time. Before I actually talk about the STAYGE Lab too much, I would go to the next slide, and then something that I would want to share. There are many things I think is important in business, obviously, business knowledge, financial knowledge, and team management. There are many, many things, but not just that. You have to have a right timing for your business to kick off. Even when you have everything ready, if you don't meet the right time, it just doesn't happen. And I think STAYGE Lab is the example of having right timing, because I was actually a co-founder STAYGE in 2017, and I was a board member for a very long time. I didn't have time to operate it myself, so I hired another person to operate on behalf of it and helped my co-founder to do the business. We knew that the entertainment industry would need a technology to expand their market size, but it was just too early. So we were struggling for a very, very long time. But when I came back in 2020 to South Korea again, I just knew that timing is coming. And I'll let you know why I felt that way. And the other thing I will mention a lot overall, this presentation or the lecture, I do believe the mission and the vision and the value you serve is one of the most important things when you actually do your business. It looks very glamorous on the outside of the, all this fascinating companies, but every day there are struggles, every day something happens. It could be employee problem, it could be partnership problem, it could be financial problems. All the time there's some problems, and people come and go. And even founders, they struggle a lot, financially. Like for myself, I actually haven't got paid. I didn't get paid over a year when I started the STAYGE. And how do I keep moving forward when you're in that kind of, situation? And I do believe that the mission and the vision to solve the problem that you think that you can solve it and you believe that people need it is actually one of the most important key points for any entrepreneurs to keep moving forward. So I would talk about it, and I think it actually related to the story why I started the STAYGE and why I keep doing this. I wish I can actually interact with people more so that, I know how people know about K-pop, so I don't know how many people know about K-pop, but I'm pretty sure everyone probably now knows about K culture. We call it K culture, K content, Korean pop culture. I'm sure you guys watched Squid Game or Parasite winning Academy Awards, or BTS. Everyone probably heard about that. So on the news, you'll probably see, BTS news all the time. I was in Las Vegas in April, and I was so surprised that whole Vegas was covered by this purple color, which represents BTS. And it creates like hundreds of millions of dollars like revenue for this local even market. And this whole, even one group or even the whole, this culture is no longer just restricted to Korea or to Asian community. It's actually expanding globally, and it's impacting a lot to many people's lives, especially during the COVID time, because a lot of people spend a lot of time on YouTube and they didn't know what to actually focus. Their life was really boring, but during the COVID time locked up. But BTS became their like sunshine of their life all of a sudden. So I think the timing was perfect for a K culture to really grow exponentially during the COVID time. And as you see from the right side of the statistics, I got it from Twitter Korea from 2019, just the K-pop tweets like hits billions of tweets. So people talk about it a lot, and people really pay attention to it, and it really impacts the economy. It really impacts so many people's life. But before it even happened, one of the reasons I thought the K-pop will blow up or the K-culture will blow up is actually, I look at the Silicon Valley trend. One thing I love about being in Silicon Valley is it's just so many people come to Silicon Valley and start their own business, or so many companies or a global company, they try to figure out what's next and ready for it. And I look at the Netflix, and obviously Netflix was doing very well when the COVID hit, but surprisingly, Netflix was hiring the most and a lot from Korea. So I was like, okay, so even though Netflix is doing well in America, they're investing a lot and they're expanding a lot in Korea. So probably things are going to move in the content side in Korea faster, since Netflix actually is investing aggressively. So when I came back, Michael actually came to my house. He asked me, Michael is my co-founder of STAYGE Labs, and then he asked me whether I can, fully committed to STAYGE Labs now and really grow the business, since the timing might be right now. But it was a little bit early, but still, it's like, I just had this kind of, I could tell that the time was coming. And of course, we still struggle over a year. We didn't get paid. We were really hungry for over a year. And we were talking to so many entertainment agency how important it is to work with the technology platforms. And then they only wanted to work with companies like YouTube or something like that, because that's how they make money. But we knew that we were on the right path, and then we were right. Because when Squid Game kicked off and then spiked up all this the Netflix user traffic, whole entertainment industry just panicked. So they all tried to actually work with the whole technology platforms, and how do we use this technology to go to the global market. So things change very fast, and we were just preparing for that.
So, Clara, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
The K-pop phenomenon really started a few years before COVID, and
yes,
really was becoming popular worldwide. Do you think in sort of pop culture in Korea, in terms of just how people on the street think, do they understand, how do they understand the popularity of K-pop and K-culture?
You mean in Korea, or you where
In
where?
Korea. In Korea, why do Korea people think that their content has been so successful?
Um, I think Koreans are really good at, you know, moving things really fast.
Uh-huh.
Like I think like we were trying to actually we were always trying to actually get to this billboard, and I think we always wanted to go global because it's such a tiny country. But we always like, you know, like I mentioned some Samsung last time, but like I think Korea, we have lots of human resources, but it's still a very small country. So I think how we target market, we always try to go global. And obviously with the, you know, if you're just targeting the Korean people, you wouldn't actually have a color of this globalization, like, you know,
Yeah.
you know, the color. So I think people had some struggle. So like we had Psy before, right? Like
Yeah.
he did like billions, but after that it was kind of quiet. But
Uh-huh.
I think a lot of music industry people, they went over and then struggled with how to actually, you know, go to the global market. They they really struggled to figure out, but then you know, honestly, I don't think Korean people will only think that, oh, K-pop is dominating world, and with certain aspect. I think it just
Yeah.
happened, and they're just proud. And the reason actually is not because it got really advanced. I think there were already good artists here and already ready to go global, but I think technology actually helped. So, for
Yeah.
example, BTS, one of the reasons BTS is successful, a lot of experts actually talk about is because they were engaging with their fans through Twitter. Because, you know, BTS was famous, but not as much as before, like this. And um, so when they had time, they were engaging with their fans through YouTube and Twitter. So the fans around the world outside of the Korea, they felt like they have more connection to their artists. So their personality actually even promoted them to be more famous. So it's not just the music aspect. So I'm not sure
Yeah.
I'm answering your question correctly,
Actually,
but
you're answering the question great. That's, you know, this is a very good, clear picture, and you're not trying to oversimplify things. That's fabulous.
yeah, so
You know, I
yeah,
think that it sounded a little bit like you were saying, you know, thanks to COVID, Stage has been successful. And I'm kind of going to challenge you on that, because I think that the technology and people's use of the technology was something that was going to happen. Although I bet in those early days when it was a struggle, nobody would take you seriously. You know, that was hard.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, once you know more about Stage, we actually really nailed down the whole point why K-pop actually became so global. It
Uh-huh.
actually is not just the music, it's actually a engagement with fans.
Yeah.
It's engagement with people. You need people to grow your market, you know, and how are you going to
Yep.
reach out to them? So that aspect, I think we got the point, and we've been kind of nailing down, and then that's why we were able to actually have a partnership with CJ ENM, you know, also one of the
Yeah.
reasons. And
So
one of the
anyway, I have the benefit of having seen your slides in advance, and I know you've got
right.
some great slides coming up. So let me
So
let you
yeah,
move
let
on.
me keep moving forward with that, and you will get
Yeah.
to the point. So yeah, so when, just like I told you, like Michael showed up, and I decided to jump on Stage. It's because I myself was the person who was in front of the camera and getting rejected and struggling sometimes with financial things. So we really wanted to help those artists. That was actually beginning of our company and company Stage. And Michael actually showed up when he first had this idea to help, I was the first person he kept in mind because of the experience I had. But STAYGE, what we do is we are, technology platform, and ultimately we want to help the artist by connecting fans. But just to give you a little bit more stories about like how STAYGE started, not just myself, Michael, my CEO, and my co-founder, his brother is on the picture. It's actually Michael's real brother. And his name is Natsan, and Natsan is actually a pretty famous rapper and then music producer in Korea. And even he's so, he's kind of well known. Michael has watched Natsan, struggling in the very conventional entertainment industries, that he get rejected because he doesn't want to belong to, maybe like a corporate type of entertainment agency, or he struggled with finance sometimes, because the job, you get it sometimes and you don't get it, and that's happening to a lot of artists. So we really wanted to help people like Natsan to be self-sufficient with their talents by our technology.
Let me jump in on that one too, okay? Because
Sure.
For people who may not know, typically an artist like a singer or a rapper or whatever would join an artist management agency or some sort of a program. And these companies have had an incredibly strong influence over what the artists can do.
Right.
And so there's, it's almost like the movie studios in America back during the 30s and 40s, when you really couldn't be an independent agent. You had to belong to some company.
Right. Yeah, it has been like that. And I think that's why the Harvey Weinstein situation happened. It's a very challenging actually industry, because there's so many people want to, be famous, and then they are recognized by their talents, but only a very, very few can make it. But at the same time, maybe sometimes it's not by your talents, it's by the whole industry game sometimes. So we wanted to actually create a more democracy in that industry, in the entertainment industry, to help those people to reach out to more of their fans, and then they can be more self-sufficient with their own talent. That was our initial mission, and then a story behind the whole business. And as you see, even in Korea, there are over 100,000 registered artists, and only maybe 20,000. Even 20,000 is a lot. 20,000 can make money, but it's less than $1,000. You can't do anything. So basically, they can't sustain their art activity at all. They have to get second or third job to maintain their passion. So all those talented people just disappear. But recently it has been better, because YouTube or Twitch or all those technology platform gave them more options to reach out to the fans and then make money. And then we want to be one of those platform to help. So we will provide the technology platform through all of this means, which will be covered by more our business model. But we want the artists to be self-sufficient with our technology and then the services we provide. And how we execute the vision, we think that we can execute our vision by creating a best global entertainment technology platform and collecting fans and then the artists globally. So
now, before you get into that, Clara, I'm really curious. That's almost like you are going to disrupt the structure of the industry, these kind of iron agreement between the artists and these management companies and so forth. I would have thought STAYGE would have had an incredible number of enemies from business in Korea.
I not so much, actually, to be honest. Just like I said, we grabbed the timing. So it's not just us, we are disrupting, actually the whole other technology platforms are already disrupting the whole industry. So entertainment business, they have no choice to actually start working with technology side, because that's how they make more money. So, I mean, I'm going to cover the competitor slide later on. BTS company is not, valued $10 billion, not just because of BTS, because they owned a technology platform, covers everything. So entertainment world is now jumping in this whole technology boom. I think the COVID actually accelerated, and finally the timing came. But like Michael and I, we knew it even 10 years ago. It just has to be that way. Everything will be connected to tech if you want to expand their market. So, or even company valuation wise, since everybody probably is involved with the business, if you're just running the entertainment agency, because you're mostly targeting local, unless you're a Hollywood agency, that your company valuation is not going to value as technology company. But when you become a technology company, it's easier to raise money. At the same time, it can be more versatile to connect with other, partnerships and stuff, that you can grow the whole business in a very scalable way, that your company will value way more when you go public or even get acquired. So a lot of companies in agency entertainment side, I think they're trying to transform themselves into more tech companies these days. That's how I see it. So so I'll go to the next slide. Obviously, we're still kind of a small startup. We're like 25 people startup, but we did make a huge partnership last year, CJ ENM. I think a lot of people do not know about CJ ENM, but CJ ENM is actually the biggest entertainment company in, I think, Asia. So CJ is actually a brother company of Samsung. So the families are connected. So it's a conglomerate. And one of the most famous their work recently was CJ was the distributor, and then the Mickey Lee, who was the vice president who founded CJ ENM. She was the main person who helped Parasite to win the Academy Awards in 2020. So CJ ENM did the major role in that. And CJ ENM has so many TV shows, very, very well-known TV shows in Asia. And one of the most famous one is Mama, Mnet Asian Music Awards. It's like Grammy Awards in Asia. And I'll talk about it later, is more than 1 billion people will watch it. It's a huge, huge music event in Asia, and they're the one who create this and host it. So we became their partner, and we've been growing with them a lot. So
their partnership started with investment in your company, right?
Yes, so they invested our company, and they're also we're also their technical partnership, technical, I guess, partners. Yeah.
Okay, and CJ ENM, big and huge, but any idea of annual sales over $10 billion?
They're public companies. You guys can actually go to the, the internet. Yes, it's a public company. It's publicly trading company. So I wouldn't talk about their revenues and stuff since it's not my company.
Okay, that's fine. So,
yeah, but they're definitely huge in Asia. Their influence is huge, and we definitely get a lot of benefit from them. At the same time, we know that even though we're a small startup, we can add a very big value to this giant media company, which I will cover later. Actually, I'll just cover it now.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people would ask like that, yeah, CJ is such a big company like Samsung, then why would, you know, those companies would just build it? Why would they work with you guys, right? But to be honest, that's actually a bigger question. Like a lot of it, I think big companies, they struggle building their own, especially very creative ways. That's why Silicon Valley companies always acquire new companies. The whole ecosystem is always moving. And there are a lot of reasons for that. I mean, I think Professor Desher, maybe you can ask me that questions on the fireside chat since, you know,
Yeah, we'll talk some more about that.
Yeah. Yeah, so CJ ENM, think of it as like giant media companies. The TV, they have TV shows, real TV shows, and it's kind of like they have a lot of shows like American Idol type. So they will broadcast and then people actually vote for them. So far, they've been voting their favorite artists or who will be the next like American or Korean's K-pop idol. The fans actually voted through their phones or text messages. So all this like TV shows that I like Mama or M Countdown and Island 2, whenever they actually have these shows, the user will go crazy to vote their favorite, artists. But then like the media, it's like you just watch TV and then next day, you don't really engage with the, maybe CJ after the show is done. So they were struggling. How do we actually capture this, the growth of the user traffic and then maintain and then keep them really interested? Because they were able to do user acquisition, but they were not able to do user maybe sustainability or user growth. So how do you do that? And you do it with technology platform, especially with like a fan engagement platform. So that's why they decided to build technology platform. And there's so many shows and the fans are very, most of them are quite young, but the startup, you have to really move fast, but then the corporate like this, they have a lot of decision-making process. So they decided to work with startup like us, move really fast, know about the industry and know about the technology very well. So that's why they decided to work with us to overcome that kind of challenge that media or TV has it now. So, and how do we actually provide this kind of, like solution? So let me give you like a little bit brief introduction of how, our product works. So artists, they get to have their own communities, or even the TV shows I mentioned, like Mama and M Countdown, they have their own community. And currently it's not available on apps. We are only available at web. We will launch this year. But within a month, we hit 2.5 million users, and they're pretty active. The reason is the K-pop actually fans are very aggressive because they already have their interest in their own artists, but they just didn't have enough means to communicate about their artists or get information about the artists or engage with the artists. So they were struggling. So they were lost to, having that kind of conversation on Twitter or Facebook or all over other platforms. But we try to capture all those fans like activity in one place so that they have sense of community within the, with the same interest of, with the people who have same interests. So, it's like most of our fans are also very global, so we provide it in multiple languages, and we also
hold on just a second. If you go back to that slide, hey, up at the top, is that the name of a brand name of something that's
no, it's I'm sorry about this, but we work with CJ, and then I think this is also benefit, and then the maybe not the maybe the bad side of the being startup, it changes a lot. So actually our brand has changed a lot. So right now the name is MX, but it will change also very soon.
Okay.
So branding will be changed, but then the concept is actually staying. So that's why I decided to
But
still
if
use
I were
it.
to like download a Stage app,
We don't have
and
app
put it
yet.
on,
We
oh, you
only
don't
have-
have any?
No,
Okay.
no, it will be provided this year. So it's on our roadmap. Like at the
Okay.
end of the year. Yeah.
So basically, how would I get involved if I'm just a user? Let's say I'm a fan
Well,
of a
you go to
particular
the
K-pop group. What do
your
I do?
excuse me. You go to the website mnetworld.
Okay.
Yeah. So you go to our website and then you signed up, and then currently we only have more like TV shows community. So you go into the TV shows community, you will interact with other fans with live chat, and also you will get to vote who's your favorite, idols. Like, it could be a girl's idol or
Yeah. Yeah.
so.
Okay.
Yeah, other functionality, we're not showing it actually right away because we just launched like about a month and a half ago. So this is this is where
Okay.
we're heading to, but it's not available everything right now. So just to make it clear.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
Yeah, but I think startup, you just have to be really be ready for all those changes quickly. Otherwise, you can't really cope up with the fans like this. They're just really aggressive, So if there's any functionality it doesn't work or anything they don't like, they would actually complain. And they're really sensitive because it's directly leads to, actually, let's just go to this slide. It leads to their artists. So right now we focus on voting side the most because of previous, media, they were voting this kind of K-pop artists, competition through text messages and phone calls. But now they're using our platform to vote. And it does impact and influence artists' actual lives, So they can be shown on TV more, or they can be more famous. So the fans are they're super, super aggressive. So in fact, we're actually doing a lot of research and then putting a lot of efforts to figure out which is a fake accounts or not, just like the Twitters that Elon Musk just talks about. Like there are lots of fake accounts you can create and then pretend you're real users or not. So we're spending a lot of time to figure out whether that user is real, so that every vote counts and every vote matters. So I think the community of our users are a little bit different than other consumer products. But because of that, we just have to be very good at sudden changes. So it will change a lot over the time.
Okay.
So currently our product is free, so we don't have business model attached to it because right now we're just trying to have fans engage with the artists or fans engage with Stage Labs. But eventually we will have subscription model. It could be monthly or annual. So the premium version of Stage, we will provide artists exclusive selfies. So you can buy exclusive goods. Like you can, message them separately, privately. There will be more functionality will be added. And also, since it's related to K-pop stars, they also make goods a lot, like t-shirts, hats. That's actually a huge market as well. So we will sell those K-pop stars goods. And we've been researching a lot with NFT. Stage Labs, we are very kind of experienced with blockchain. So we actually almost listed our coin in 2017, but we didn't want to list something when we are not sure that we can back up this real substance. So we didn't actually do it, though, but we will eventually actually provide our sort of coin or the reward system by using blockchain, but that will be also tied to NFT. But that would be only happening when we are finished with the whole NFT market and how sustainable it will be and how we can actually give a real substance of the value. So, and we already have partnership like CJ's, but partnerships can be very broad. It could be marketing, it could be technical. So that will be one of our business model. And offline is it's still, you know, we haven't actually explored too much, but since we work with CJ also does a lot of concerts, offline concerts. So well, we've been talking about doing like offline concerts, fan meetings, only for maybe STAYGE fans.
So before you move on, we've got some great questions that have come in, and I kind of want to pick up a few of them because they're relevant to what you've just said. I'm going to go back to Natasha's first question about really your relationship with the artists. And she's written a comment that, you know, artists being owned by a label or by a management company. And, you know, she was thinking about Taylor Swift making headlines when she had to buy the rights to her own song library. Is Stage Labs not demanding any kind of ownership to the creative works of the artists? You don't own the works of the artists. The artists, if they're paying anything, they would pay you a fee for like managing a fan club or something.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have, to be honest, we don't have that kind of model yet, but yeah, we're not taking their talents like agency. We're probably going to get fees, and we want to promote like artist talents, not taking their talents, right? So that's not what we're heading to. So
okay.
Yeah.
And had a couple of questions, one from Natasha, one from Betty, that really kind of has to do with global competition against things. Well, you had started out talking about Netflix, but things like iTunes and Spotify. You know, how are you competing against them and YouTube Live and Instagram Plus and so forth? Is it that they don't really have traction in Korea, or is it that you understand the fan base better than they do, or what?
That's why I think we start with the CJ. So, you know, if we're starting off competing with YouTube, it will be very challenging, and we have done it. And we have content provider now. So we are working with CJ, and then we will expand it more. But you know, Netflix or the Spotify or YouTube, you guys have to understand that these are not a small startup anymore. There are layers of decision-making process and then launching process, you know. So just like I told you about our business models or anything like that, we will move way quickly, and then even adapting a new technology will be much, much faster. And, you know, we're also South Korean, so we would engage with artists better, and then we understand the industry better. So I think that's a benefit of being a startup. So yeah.
Well, it sounds like you've already gotten a certain amount of critical mass. If the voting platform is really attracting a lot of new users,
yeah,
you know, as long as you keep that up and active and fresh and all of that, it keeps expanding, right?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, voting definitely attracts, but I mean, there are a lot of things I can't disclose right now because it's involved with the CJ, but it's we have to give more values, and it's not just the vote. Voting is the more like a user acquisition strategy. So that's why we're more focusing on how do we keep like those users keep interacting each other or keep it interested in our platform. So we have live chat, and then we will add like more even emojis and all those. Like we will start providing more artists like, you know, exclusive contents. And to be honest, it's not only us we're doing it, other competitors are also doing it. So the whole industry is actually blowing up. So in that direction.
Okay.
So
a couple more questions. Sadama asks, would the NFT market be more related to creating and selling an artist's digital art, or would it be other aspects like ticketing and that kind of thing? Have you gone that far yet or not?
I can't answer that one because we are still not, well, we're still exploring whether the NFT has a real security of, you know, securing the value of artists' talents and stuff. I mean, it's the whole industry is blowing up. Everyone talks about it, and obviously we want to be part of it, but we want to make sure that we give a real value. So we're not sure yet. We're still exploring, but that's on our roadmap. So we have, yeah.
Okay, great. Let me let you move on a little further then.
Sure. So, you know, how would, you know, I think it would kind of, this slide even contains the answer why, how can you compete with Spotify or the YouTube type of companies? I actually got those kind of questions when I did the LifeSite, but a lot of tech companies, they have to keep using new technology. And as you grow, as you have more users, it's not that easy to implement a new technology. And we have a great engineering team. We have our own structures and an algorithm to stabilize the like all sudden spike of the user traffic or the massive functionality that the massive fans are using. So we've been preparing those kind of high virality of traffic a lot, and sometimes it can be difficult for you know, the big companies. So I think you guys probably sometimes experience like all of a sudden, let's say hundreds of billion people would jump into one site and then the website would crash and stuff. We've been preparing for that for years. So we have our own technology to do so. And we did have blockchain technology on behalf of our system. Currently, we're not running it right now, but eventually we will start running it. We're just evaluating which type of blockchain protocol would be idle for us, because we chose a Korean company before, and then we're still kind of debating which one now. And we will provide a reward system using blockchain system, and then people who get the rewards, they will be able to buy goods, or they will be able to use it in our own system. So, but it's not a coin that will be listed. So, and we have this framework. We're not building all the technology by ourselves, but we're leveraging a lot of global companies' technology like AWS or like Mailgun, or, you know, so, but we have this whole architecture. The API connection is much faster than than other companies. So we can handle like a huge amount of sudden traffic. And we call it satellite service structure. So right now you only see one, like, you know, community platform, but on top of that, we will have NFT. It will be like other services will be attached. Yeah. So, but it will be on the roadmap, and that's very normal for startups. So just, you know.
So when you're completely cloud-based and serverless, that means that you don't really know what data center somebody's data records are located in. And so I'm curious, especially with your background in kind of, you know, important document vault of LifeSite.
Yeah.
This is a hot topic regulation right now. Do you see this happening to the music industry? Is it going to be important?
Yes, so I think when you go to our website, you would have to comply all those like terms and services. And we're on top of all the compliances, like just like, CCPA, GDPR, everything. We make sure that your private information is all secured. And we target all the global users. So we have to make sure that each country has different types of compliance, and that we consult with all those like law firms. We spend a lot of time and money on, dealing with that security issue. So sometimes, when you're a startup, it's better to actually work with the big server companies like AWS, VMware, Google Cloud, because they put so much money in security infrastructure to not to get hacked. So it's better to actually leverage theirs. But then it's just, security is what I learned from LifeSite. It's about layering, So how do you actually, layer all those like systems that but then make sure that your information is secure. So it's not just you build the best possible security system.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah. So this graph kind of shows also, like the M countdown, Island 2. Island 2 actually BTS will show up. So like we will have a spike of users in June. So like TV shows, whenever those kind of TV shows happen, the user we can see the spike of the users like this, but then usually go down a little bit. But then it's much difficult to actually handle users who user traffic is so volatile. It's better to handle, let's say, 1 million users all the time. But then if it goes like this, it's much difficult to make it stable, but we have that kind of technology to deal with that. So, and whole K-pop industry, as I told you guys, is now merging with technology. So Weverse is the platform of BTS company Hype, and they have about 25 million downloads now and 5.3 million monthly active users. If you download it, I think I get the most notification from my phone from that app. It's like, meaning that they are just so active, like constantly the fans are, posting something, and the artists, instead of they're just using their Instagrams and stuff, they start actually posting their own exclusive selfies or what they do or how they practice, exclusive videos before even they show it to media, and only exclusive to their fans. So these type of like fan engaging communities are very important in the K-pop culture and K-pop industry, and that was the key point for this K-pop industry blow up. So we do have multiple competitors, and we are seeing a lot of competitors coming up, and they do get valued a lot. So like Weverse, they're valued $10 billion now. So it's a big market.
Yeah.
And this is my team. I don't have everybody in this picture because some of them we work remotely, maybe twice a week, 3 times a week. But this is yesterday. We just took it. I told them like random picture time.
So anyway, this is really recent. This is yesterday.
Oh yeah, it was yesterday. They had zero idea they were taking pictures. I need your picture, because like for us, like we have a kind of like a flat culture. There's no hierarchy, even though we have like C-levels and stuff. We always have this kind of tea time in the morning, and everyone can just talk about anything. I do believe people change everything. People are the core. Even if you have a greatest idea, even if you have the best business plan, if you don't have the right people to work with it and the right people to execute it, it never works. So we value people. So that's why we didn't want to put only executive pictures on this page. We want to make sure that, you know, our family is, you know, on our slide, you know, presentation. And these people are the one that making our vision and mission come true, not just founders. So that's actually really important factor for business to be successful, I believe. So, and this is the end of presentation about Stage and a little bit of myself. And thank you for listening, and I'll take questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This is really interesting. We will kind of go into this sort of Q&A mode now.
Sure.
How do I add myself to this?
I have it.
Oh, you did it.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. So anyway, had some great questions about sort of the internationalization aspect or the global expansion aspect. Korea has had a number of kind of waves of entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
And maybe I should ask you to talk about that before we talk about one of the specific problems that mentioned in the questions, okay? How do you see sort of the history of entrepreneurship in Korea in the last 25 or 30 years?
That's a kind of deep, you know, question.
It's a big question.
I think I have to kind of like narrow it down to more technology side, because the entrepreneurship can be very broad, depends on the industry. Obviously, just like other in the world, 2000 internet boom, that definitely created a entrepreneurship. And then the 2000 era founders are the one that who's leading the Korean economy right now, like Kakao, Naver, Down, they're all from 2000 era. So they were the engineers, and they knew that technology will actually, you know, dominate the market or help people. So they are leading. And when I started, the startup ecosystem was not there. There was only very few VCs, and people did not know about even the term of startups. Only maybe engineering related people knew about it, but not quite like now. So it was kind of interesting, because when I left Korea, even in 2015, at that time it was actually booming, because I don't know, you remember, Professor, we had this Mirebu, like a science department from my previous president. She set it up, and then she was trying to promote the whole startup ecosystem at the time. So we had so much money for the seed levels. And so a lot of actually young entrepreneurs started the business in the early, I think 2012 to 2013 to 2015 to 16. And that's the time I was helping a lot of entrepreneurs, and they became leading second generation startup entrepreneurs. So when I came back to Korea, like 2020 or even last year, I was actually blown away. The market size grew so much. I think a lot of people started familiar with Korean market, and type of company like Coupang listed on NASDAQ instead of KOSDAQ. It kind of like gave awareness of Korean market and how it can be huge, even though the country itself is really tiny, but somehow Koreans, I think they know how to kind of nail down more global users, including this K-pop or digital content side. So yeah, it has grown so much. The market size grown so much, and so it's kind of exciting.
Alluded to some things that hits the question, and the question originally comes from Natasha, but I want to make it a little bit broader than she had phrased it. The whole kind of problem with Korea being a walled garden. So not only the first generation really successful Korean startups like Daum and KakaoTalk, but even Coupang It's listed on the US exchange,
Right.
but it's not really becoming a global company, right? I mean, there's been this kind of thing. Do you think that K-pop can break out of that? And do
Yes,
you
of
think that
course.
the technology that you're doing can really have a global reach in terms of
Yeah.
users?
Yeah. There are, I think, two aspects I can mention. Coupon, they do get criticism because they target Korean users. Their market is Korean market, but they're listed in America, right? But the founder is actually American, and I think one of the reasons Korean market size is growing is because a lot of Koreans who study abroad or worked abroad, they came back to Korea with the knowledge they learn, and then they start, creating a business, and they're able to connect the world even with finance and stuff, and they know how to do it. So I think it's a good human resources actually from abroad is because of COVID. Actually, it actually accelerated to expand the market. That's my personal opinion, because the people matter the most. And the other one is like, I think I just mentioned, like, competitors or even our users are all global, 88%, meaning majority of the users are not Korean. So the market we're targeting is not Korean. That absolutely the market size will be much bigger than just being as
So
a
as you move into more revenue generating services, probably the bulk of your revenue will come out from outside Korea too, then.
Sure, yeah. And then, like, the technology has evolved, like, there are many ways to get the international transactions, even with payment system, where now we can deal with a lot of even, like, people are familiar with even video conferences and stuff, so we can manage different teams abroad much easier. So it's just really easier to expand your business globally than before. So I think absolutely the Korean market size I do think it's going to grow. Yeah.
Okay.
Not just yeah.
Okay, great. So I don't want to forget our students in the classroom. So the people who've been on Zoom have been typing their questions in chat.
Sure.
What about from the classroom? Any questions?
So just clarification, this might have been mentioned in the talk, but right now are the only artists on the platform artists that are also signed under the parent company?
Are the only artists on your platform artists that are also signed under some parent company, like CJ?
What's the definition of parent company?
Like,
Well, the artist management company, or whatever. Are you able to deal with people individually outside that?
Well, currently, yes. That's what we only now work with the CJ now, but our vision is to help any artist. So eventually we will try to get to that point. So that's why we have this kind of like WeWork system. We've been thinking about it so that besides working with those kind of companies, like artists should be able to make money, but we're also a startup, so we have to get to that level to provide that kind of service. So it's just yeah. So right now we don't provide it, but eventually, yes. So
okay. Other things from the class? Go ahead.
I had a similar question because it seems like right now, like a lot of the current business is like gaining traction through CJ artists and like using Mnet. So I'm just curious, like, how do you see the challenge of like kind of not being kind of like sucked into the big corporation and the establishment that they already have in the future?
This is a great question. I don't know how much you could hear, but says that a lot of the business now is involved with Mnet and working with CJ. How do you keep Stage Labs from being sucked into the world of the big corporations?
that's a question that I think all my team actually keep contemplating. I guess we would have to keep having this different types of business model, like the reverse, like NFT, for example, NFT, it's like CJ just launched that they're gonna focus on it, but big corporates like CJ doing NFT, if there's any controversy over, blockchain or even crypto side, it's not easy for them to actually execute. But startup like us, we can execute it. So we'll keep exploring those kind of options for artists to be, kind of protected from those corporates. But as I can't say confidently right now that we are providing now, because we don't yet, right? So because we have to get to that level to provide that kind of service, and all we can do right now, we have to provide a service that fans and the people who like those artists are really having fun and really enjoy using our service. That's the main thing that we can only do now. So does that make sense? I mean, yeah.
Actually, it does. I was going to kind of jump in to help a little bit, because that's the hard thing. Is the hard thing for a tech company here in Silicon Valley. You've got Google right down the street, you've got Facebook, you've got the others. The more that you get close to their areas, the more they want to kind of absorb you, right? And so, working out that route is a combination of strategy and tactics, where in your strategy, you really want to do the best thing for the idea, not forget that original vision. We had a question in chat about how did you come up with the idea? Indeed, you said that, the brother of Michael was a rapper, and you could see how few of the artists in Korea were really making money and able to support themselves. So to be able to reach through and help them monetize what they are delivering to people, and yet still be the artists, right? Provide them with a good platform for that.
Yeah, so at the end of the day, I think it's a core thing that every entrepreneur will talk about. You have to satisfy your customer. So we'll do our best to make customer really happy using our platform, even without corporate intervention. So that will be our challenge, and that will be our mission.
Yeah, but it's a hard road, and it doesn't get any easier, but if you do it right, you can be extremely successful.
Yeah, we're still solving problems, to be honest. Yes, it's challenging. It's not easy. I'll be honest with you. So
okay, is there anything else from the class? That's a great question. Thank you. Go ahead.
Kind of related to what you're talking right now too, but you mentioned Weverse, which is created by a company that BTS belongs to. So my question is, what's stopping other major entertainment companies from creating platforms on their own, kind of similar to what STAYGE is doing?
Okay, so BTS has Weverse, right? And what's to stop other big companies, media or entertainment companies, from creating new competitors to STAYGE Labs?
Yes. So Weverse, yes, they are doing similar things, but you have to understand Weverse, Hive, actually the company Hive, they only work with their own artists. They can't work with JYPs like Wonder Girls. They can't work with Psy. It's pretty exclusive to their own artists. But platform like us, we don't have any we're not only working with one corporate, we're a technology platform. So we can work with any agency, and we're open to it. So let's say, BTS is actually a very sensitive question, matter, because you have no idea how army can be very, but BTS is in a situation that they might have to go army now, real army, like military service.
Oh, they've got their obligatory military service coming up.
Yeah, so there are a lot of controversy around that. And then, let's say BTS goes to army, then Weverse major users are, obviously they have other K-pop stars, but
Yeah.
BTS users are the main users. How are they
Yeah.
going to, sustain all the user growth? But then for us, we're kind of in the middle. We can work with everybody. So that's why it's kind of important to have a middle ground, I guess, as a technology platform.
Yeah.
So
this is kind of a takeoff on the last question that Natasha came up with. And this has to do with the sort of crazy situation with online TV in the US, right? You've got to see Paramount Plus to see some things, and Disney Plus to see others, and Apple Plus to see others. You get these different walled gardens for technology platforms too. I'm curious how the situation here in the States is reflected in Korea, and is this also something where Korea might actually lead the way into a more kind of efficient way rather than having to log into 10 different platforms?
I don't know that like US platform like Netflix or Disney Plus actually really impact like the move of K-pop side or the
Well, as long as you don't get too much into just TV shows. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
I don't think it
depending
really influenced. I mean, it influenced the way like the users are, let's say like after COVID, whether user will still be able to be very loyal users for Netflix, or would they actually engage with those platforms or not? That would be actually something that we would have to consider. But then K-pop is actually a little bit different than Disney Plus or the Netflix side. But because K-pop users or K-pop fans they are actually, their lives are connected to the artists. Artists' pain become their pain. Artists' joy become their joy. It's more than just enjoying the platform. So so it's the engagement side. So I don't think Netflix and the Disney Plus is still a very one side direction of providing content, but us is more about the interaction. So yeah, the people. So we value the connection more. So.
Okay. Are you seeing on the artist side, are artists becoming more sophisticated about how to use technology? Is this turning into a new skill set for artists? If you want to be a successful pop music artist, now do you have to be able to become a social media influencer first, or what?
I mean, I can't say on behalf of all the artists, and also we don't interact individual artists that much, but I do think so, because, first, if you're not famous, still you need to be self-sufficient, and then YouTube and other means, tools can be a tool for them to actually make money. And second, everyone knows that BTS became even global artists because of the engagement with fans through Twitters and all those, technology platforms. So, without people, celebrities or the artists, they can be nothing. So they know that they have to engage with the fans. So they will use technology to engage with those people that they love them, So.
Okay. So you had mentioned 3 of your major competitors. What's really distinctive about Stage Labs that differentiates you? Well, there's the artists that you have available, right? We versus BTS, but are you doing any things that are really kind of different, or is it the technology quality? You talked about the ability to deal with extreme volatility and having a really stable platform.
Currently it's kind of similar, I'll be honest with you. And then the working with CJ makes a huge difference. Because the content provider does matter for this type of business for sure. But what we are different, yes, we have a great technology team that, like, for example, like Weverse is not a, it's not really, they're not really tech company. They are entertainment company transforming to more tech company, but my team started from engineering side. My team, from whole experience, we've been doing tech and then we've been doing startups. So we know how to set the startups culture and how to make decisions and how to, you know, how to make the roadmap to build this, and how to actually, prevent the some sort of situation. So I think culture or the startup as a tech startup actually means something, you know, not just you try to be a tech startup. And other competitors, even Leeson is a SM Entertainment. So all this entertainment company, they, you know, they built a platform and they just announce it. And obviously they have artists that they do get tractions, but, you know, as they get scale and as they have, you know, as they lose them, as they artists, they lose the artists, they do have contract with them too, you know, so if they lose it, they will also have to figure out other stuff, but we just are flexible, you know, and we're ready for, we're in the middle ground than other competitors. So we can work with anybody, even with Weverse, we can work with, not now, but like, you know, we were supposed to work with, you know, anybody that we want. So that can be actually differentiation. So that
if we come back, say 5 years from now, are we going to see Stage Labs working with a lot of artists, say from Philippines or Indonesia or other parts of Asia, as well as Korean artists? How do you think that's going to develop for you?
Oh, absolutely. We are actually already working on that. And CJ is also working on it. So I can't really announce, but we are targeting like Latin American. We're not trying to make, we're not only promoting the K-pop stars. The whoever really are influenced by K-pop culture, you can be a next K-pop artist, you know, like, you know, and a lot of actually even Blackpink, they have, you know, non-Korean members are there. So it's more diverse these days. So K-pop is just a name. I think it's actually it influences globally. So the forms are not really just Korean.
So one last question for the formal part of the program, and then we'll turn the recording off and maybe have a few more minutes of informal conversation.
Yeah.
So what advice do you give students who are interested in becoming entrepreneurs?
I would have to say, you have to really believe what you do or what you try to solve. You know, it's gonna be really tough. Entrepreneurship sounds great, but it is super tough. Like I said, every day something happens. Sometimes you really have to struggle with money and people, and you get rejected over and over from VC partnerships. It's just so much rejection. So you have to be mentally and physically ready for it. But if you have right vision and right mission and right value that you want to really believe and you want to really solve that problem, I think you can go through it. And when it's, you know, finally solved from your team, by your team and by you or by your product, it's so, I think, I don't know, it's something that's, it's just a satisfaction. It's just different. I mean, I'm still getting there. So I think I want to feel that that's why I keep doing it. But when I see all my entrepreneurs selling to companies with hundreds of $millions or billions, I see their faces and it's like, oh, so it's worth it. And no one say you could do it, but you actually believe that you could do it and you did it. And that's a huge, you know, it's like a life meaning. And I think it's that sense, I think it's worth it, you know, so.
Well, that's a really great kind of comment for us to end the formal part of the program. We will turn off the recording now, but first, thank you so much for a great presentation today.
Thank you so much. It's an honor for myself, you know, I mean, yeah.